what's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the animated science fiction action film Transformers 1. Now this is an animated film depicting the events and the origins of the Transformers. You could say basically of Optimus Prime and like Megatron. So it's like a prequel detailing like the history of the Transformers, but mostly focused like on Optimus Prime and like Megatron too as well. Now I must admit, this film I was interested in seeing, but when I first saw the trailers for it, I thought it did seem too like lighthearted and too like soft-like. But I must admit, once you see the film, it really does have like a serious and hard and dark tone too as well. But there is still like a lots of humor in it, so it is like still funny at times. But it does still take on like a very dark and like serious tone as it goes on. Now you have Chris Hemsworth, who provides the voice of Optimus Prime, but at this point he's known as Orion Pax. And you also have Brian Tyree Henry, who voices D16, and of course D16 is Megatron, but he's known as D16 at this point. And you also have Scarlett Johansson, who voices a leader as well. And you also have Keegan Michael Kay, who voices the Bumblebee, or you can call Bumblebee B127 at this point. So yeah, and there's like other people I could touch on too, like you have Starscream in the film, who's voiced by Steve Buscemi, Alpha Trion, who's voiced by Lawrence Fishburne. There's like tons of like different like people that I could touch on, like James Remar plays voices Zeta Prime and all. I don't want to get into it too much because they kind of spoil like the film itself. But overall, the film is basically depicting like the origin of how like Megatron and like Optimus Prime, how they eventually became like enemies. You can see like their early relationship and the thing that's like the stuff that's going on with the planet Cybertron. How Cybertron is like mining and has like Transformers like mining, well not Transformers, but like the various different like robots, you know, like mining the planet. I get into all that, but there's also like an antagonist in the film too, known as Sentinel Prime. And he's voiced by John Hamm. Now, at first, it does seem like he's I already kind of spoiled it right there. He does seem to have like good intentions, like he's like the ruler of Cybertron, the ruler of Cybertron, but he turns out to be secretly like the antagonist, like the villain of the film. So that was kind of like a spoiler territory. But yeah, he's like very like evil too. Like some of the things he does in the film, like he like kills like the various different like robots and stuff. It was like very like evil, like that's where the film really does take on like a dark tone, especially as it focus on like certain other characters. But overall, I must admit that's basically what the book and the plot of the film is about, like the relationship between Optimus Prime and Megatron, plus like what's going on for like Cybertron. But one of the things I thought was kind of interesting and cool about it was from a certain point of view, not really a certain point of view, it seemed like Optimus Prime, like in this early time of his relationship with Megatron, it seems like he really was the one that was doing like bad type stuff. Like he would break into places to find out about like certain things, you know. Yeah, because at one point while like on Cybertron, Orion, that's the one that Optimus Prime is known as. You could say Optimus Prime. He sneaks into like this factory or whatever and watches like documentary about like the primes and so on. And he wasn't supposed to do that. Then he escapes from like the security and stuff who was chasing him all around like the place, you know, and he's like escaping. So right there you could tell that he really did have like a villainous type of style, like Optimus Prime, which I thought was always kind of interesting in this particular film. And he's constantly pulling Megatron into like his like escapades, and you know, and we all know what happens with Megatron, and he eventually becomes like this evil. So I always thought that was kind of interesting. As while I was watching this film, you get to see how Cybertron was supposedly created, because I didn't really know the Transformers lore that well. So it's kind of interesting to get to see how Cybertron was created too by like, the creator and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of awesome, and various other things too, like the source of energon that powers like the robots and so on. But yeah, there was like quite a few moments like that throughout the film where Optimus Prime is like pulling Megatron into certain things that is considered like a criminal, like, you know, like bad. They shouldn't be doing it. Like at one point they sneak into even a race that they compete into. Now Megatron didn't want to do that, but Optimus Prime and him snuck into like this race where they was racing along and so on. I don't want to spoil it. And they wasn't supposed to do that. That was even like a bad thing, you know. So I always thought that kind of stuff like that. But in the end, it turns out that Megatron eventually went bad. like he basically just went, you know, like evil in the end, but I'm not going to spoil it. But other than that, the film does still have like a light-hearted touch to it at times, like the humor, especially like provided by like Bumblebee. Even some of the moments, like the chemistry between like Optimus Prime and like Alita and Megatron, even some of their moments were like kind of funny and so on. And you do get to see that other like Autobots, like the Decepticons, like Soundwave, Starscream, and Shockwave. They all have like their moments in the film that look pretty cool too. But like I said, I just leave it at that. But overall, I see the film didn't do too good at the box office, and I also saw this in 3D at like one of my local theaters. But it was still like a entertaining film, and the action scenes were awesome in the film. They had like some explosive like fight sequences between like the Autobots and all that. I ain't gonna really say Decepticons because they weren't really named that to the film until the film kind of concluded. And there's also like some aids in the film too as well. You have to watch it like after the credits because there are some treats, especially after the end credits completely roll. There's like a little tease at the end, but I'm not gonna spoil it. But yeah, like a lot of the fight sequences in the film were like awesome, like the action battles and the fights. I thought they were like pretty cool. And like the look of the Transformers, that animation I thought was kind of pretty awesome too as well. Like I said, it does still have like a very dark and serious tone to it too. It does seem like at times that it could have been PG-13, but it still is like a PG film. You can still tell that it's aimed at like kids basically. But in Transformers 1, now I must admit I do feel like certain things about it make it seem like it should be a C, but I still did have like a fun time enjoying it, you know, so I'm going to give it a B-. And this is my review for Transformers 1. So I definitely recommend it for people who want to get a look into like the history of the Transformers, you know, before Megatron and Optimus Prime became enemies, like the events of Cybertron and all that kind of stuff like that. So I don't really know how true it is to the lore, but if you're interested in that kind of thing, I would definitely recommend watching this. So I'm giving this a B-. Please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.